Most people know about the triangle of trade in the 19th century. Few people know that the trade system began in ancient times and stretched across the world. The first item that was traded was other humans. The people of Crete demanded that 8 boys and 8 girls um, would be traded in early as tribute to feed the Minotaur from conquered territories. Throughout history, if you were down on your luck, slavery was an option. This was the worst factor in the ancient world trade. For a person to be treated as machinery is horrifying. Besides, uh, the most common item of trade was sweeteners. Sugar began to be the most profitable. Sugar was traded in early antiquity. At different periods, it was worth its weight in gold. It was in the 13th century that sugar began to rise to the level of importance that it is today. Kingdoms have fallen and nations have been shaken, all for that sugary white powder. The production of sugar was responsible for the death of millions. We all know that tea was very important in a trade item at that time. Along with tea, sugar was very high in the list. Alongside the sugar trade was the most deplorable human institutions: slavery, drug traffic, and assimilation of various cultural groups. People have always and will always be for sale. Because sugar is labor intensive, the need for slave labor was high. In the beginning, Native Americans harvested the sugar. As they escaped or died, Africans were used. Sugar was the biggest cash crop, cotton and tobacco being secondary. A lot of sugar was used to make rum. Rum was given to the rich around the world in exchange for people. The pirates of this period were said to have lived off of rum. Rum was traded directly for people in various kingdoms around the world. Slaves would pick and process cotton and tobacco. These items were traded to English factory owners who had English slaves process it into cloth and cigarettes. The cloth was sent to India where it was traded for opium. The opium was used to trade with China for tea and silk. After China was drained of the resources, people were traded for opium. These people were mostly moved to the Americas to pick cotton and process sugar and do menial labor. Many cut sugar cane in Hawaii. Before it was a state in the United States, it was its own country. The United States came in and through intrigue gained access to Hawaii. The song Aloha Oe was a lament of the native people of Hawaii for the loss of their country, all for sugar production. But before we start pointing fingers, let us discuss events during the birth of the United States. Among the first colonists were debt slaves and newly freed men and women from North Africa. All of the people were either together from Eastern Europe or debtors' prison in England. At the time of the Revolutionary War, the English employed Hessians. Hessians were mercenaries from German tribes. In the book, the Hessians were freedmen. In reality, they were slaves sold by Prince Frederick of Germany. All of these people had their lives ruined for the production of sugar. Another idea goes hand in hand with the rise of sugar production, and it's the big A word. One of the worst things that ever happened with people. It's called assimilation. Assimilation is the clearing of all distinguishing features, cultural and all. Assimilation happens all the time. But when it happens to a person, it turns it into a machine to process items. It's pretty bad, right? Or to create tourist attractions. It's very dangerous. In early U.S. history, Africans and Native Americans were left alone culturally. Most of the pressure was used to assimilate German, Irish, and Scottish people. After these people were added to the machine and producing products, the Africans and Native Americans were added to the machine. We are in the closing phases of this step. The last two groups were given some cultural aspects to keep us happy. These parts were used to make money for them through tourism and various other aspects. We are all being changed from people into consumers to sell sugar too. Tons of sugar is used in all kinds of food products, even if it's not needed. 74% of the packaged food contains sugar. 5% of our calories should come from sugar. Most Americans use 13%. Fructose can overload your liver and cause you, eventually to die. So many lives have been taken or ruined for sugar, but the cycle can stop. We have to build communities, right? And not based on commercial products. It all starts with us doing the right thing.